Yeah. No, it kind of goes right along in lines with things. I know I did just, let me see what you think about this. And I don't know if anybody that's watching some of you watch me on Kickin Lawyer, some of you are my Facebook friend or whatever. But I made a post a couple days ago that has had a ton of comments, which has led me to think that maybe I need to have some of these people on that are making all these comments to discuss it. But what I basically said, I posted a picture of two books that I started reading.
Okay.
One was on the rise of Putin in Russia, and the other one was on it's what is a woman? I forget the name of the book, but it's the book that goes along with the documentary that everybody's watching.
The Matt Walsh book.
Yeah, it's a Matt Walsh book. So I hadn't seen the documentary, but I got the book. So here was my problem. The problem wasn't the subject matter of each book. The problem was both books were biased. As soon as I started reading the Putin book, the guy was immediately crapping all over Donald Trump, that Putin was all Donald Trump, even though Putin's been in power since 99, potentially longer unofficially, but it's Donald Trump's fault. And I'm like, no. And then the other book was basically immediately dogging on anybody that even asked the question, what is a woman? You know, and my point in reading the book wasn't that I agree that people can be trans or whatever. My point was I like to understand why people think those things or think differently than me. And I wanted hard information on it. And I thought it would maybe do like an unbiased view would and compare the two sides, right? And instead it was just one that was crapping on the other side, which, you know, it's fine. I think that's how the book was supposed to be. But my point was, and what caused a lot of the controversy, was that I said I wanted information I wanted the information. You know, I want to be trusted with the data, with the information, and then I can make my own assessment of my own opinion in that specific subject matter. And a lot of people said they would recommend books that were like that and struggled with it because we just don't get that nowadays.
Well, I would argue that it's impossible because you have a bias no matter how much you try to fight it. And that bias is going to show up, even if by the slightest degree, in anything you do. And I don't know if one person can put forward a completely unbiased opinion on something that's very divisive.
Sure.
I think that it would take a community collective effort to put forward something like that. And unfortunately, these days, especially with the way that we're engaged online, and it's a very personal one-on-one or one-on-everyone engagement online, it lowers the likelihood that you could get a collective together to truly bring you unbiased information.
Well, one thing I will say, because I was just thinking through what my counterpoint would be to what you said, is, you know, we've always had bias to some degree, even if it's in history where the victor is writing history, right? And so, but even now we're starting to uncover some truths that counter what
conventional knowledge.
Yeah, conventionally what we thought was a fact. So I just want the facts, and I kind of circle back to the whole Walter Cronkite. Was it Cronkite?
Cronkite.
Yeah, he was the whole. This is the story, or the whole story, or whatever his saying was, right? Back in the day, though, he'd give you the facts. That's what he gave you. He gave you the facts, and then you could make your own assessment. I guess I just don't want all these op-eds.
Right.
Trust me with the information.
And I guess my biggest beef is they don't even pretend. Like, at least in the 2010s, 2010, there was an effort to kind of mask your opinion. You still had it, and you still made it known. But you would, politely mask it.
Yeah,
to
a lot
extent.
of the media, like CNN.
Now
you would try to turn to
my
CNN.
opinion, and whether it be a Fox News, a CNN, and MSNBC, or whatever outlet you choose, everyone's wearing their biases on their sleeve now, and it's like, at least pay it lip service.
Well, and I'm not opposed to people having bias. I mean, we as lawyers deal with that a lot, especially in jury trials. Everybody's got a bias, and you just got to help point that out and hope that it doesn't cloud their judgment. But at the same time, there has to be facts too. There's facts on both sides.
Right.
It's either this way or it's that way. And I think, I'm curious, as you went through law school, because you went a little later than I did, one of the problems that I had in law school was, and of course, keep in mind, I'm older than you are, and I'd been a cop a long time, and so I knew I was biased going in. But because of that, like, it seemed very left slanted to me in law school.
And I will say, so I had please no one take this wrong, I had the privilege of watching President Donald Trump be elected my last year of law school, and watching the meltdown of academia live.
Nice.
And I have to say that unanimously, my professors were very displeased with the outcome of the election. And I think that is just a hallmark of academia these days.
I think it's kind of always been that way.
It has.
Yeah, but you would like to think that our smartest people are most open.
Yes.
to other to new information.
Well, unfortunately, what I've learned in higher education, especially on the educator's side, is that it is a game, and it's a political game like anything else. And regardless of your political ideology, the cream doesn't really rise to the top a lot in academia these days. It feels like there are too many roadblocks in place for really good teachers to get tenure or to get to the tenure track because they're a little too invested. And, colleges are not charities, they're not nonprofits. Let's be real. Even your state colleges are a for-profit entity to an extent. And if you're not helping the bottom line, you're not moving ahead.
Yeah.
And I think that's really doing our academic education in the United States a disservice.